Okay, great. So I'm going to pass through who we are, circular materials and extended producer responsibility, assuming that you have those that understanding. Um, we're moving into a very provincial phase. There was two phases of extended producer responsibility. The first phase started in April last year. We've been contracting with Edson in terms of depot services, and now your town qualifies for curbside services, and that will start effective October 1. So I'd like to talk you through a little bit about that and a little bit about the changes that will be happening. Um, we'll just dive through. Before I dive into your operational components, I want to show you what paper and packaging like products include. I think it's a good learning experience. It was for me in terms of understanding the magnitude of products that are available for recycling. And I know Edson has a really good program. I know Aunt Aurea and the team really well. I used to work with her at the beverage container system for many years. So I know you guys are recycling well, but on the slide here, it shows you paper and fibers. It gives you an idea of how many things fall into those categories. So that's one component of what we consider PPP, because I'll say those words throughout the presentation. And then on the other slides, so there's a full page of paper products. Then on the other slides, you go into packaging. So it's plastic, styrofoams, flexible plastics, rigid plastics, and everything is considered a container or a packaging or single use. So that's how you define PPP in our world. Metal containers as well. And then the last category is glass. You'll have these lists, your community will have these lists, and we'll do lots of public education about them, but it's to give you a representative sample. When PPP and recycling services at curbside are introduced and they're done well, which takes everybody some time to learn how to do them, you can see your garbage reduced by 50%. So that's the goal for sure for us in Alberta, to be able to recycle more materials and keep things out of landfill. So in terms of where we are at with you good folks, you qualify for curbside services because you have municipal garbage collection services. And that was the only trigger. That's the only regulatory trigger. What that means is that now Circular Materials, as a producer responsibility organization, is obligated under law to provide you with free curbside services. So last year, we ran a request for proposal in the province, and for all of our new entries or where our contracts were expiring, we put them into this proposal and we said, please come to the table. And then we selected a service provider. So we now know the service provider. We haven't officially signed the dotted line, but it's a company called Integrity. And they will be providing curbside services for you free of charge. We will manage their contract directly with them, and they will give you services. Let me see if there's another page here. There you go, 360-liter cart. It's a bigger size cart, which we use because we expect them to be full every 2 weeks. We'll pick up those carts every 2 weeks, and then we will transport that material back to Edmonton, and it's to a big preconditioning facility where we will sort and recycle the material. We will also maintain your depot through the Edson services. And so that will continue to operate. The only change there, well, the only couple changes there is that everything that is taken to the depot will become what we call single stream. So everything will be commingled. There's no more sorting. We're doing sorting on the back end now, so that residents can bring everything that's PPP related, put it in a bin, and then walk away. And our processes are they're pretty advanced. We're putting 2 new facilities in the province. We've never seen these things before that can sort, use AI and sorting technologies, lots of different things to manage the recycling streams. And what are the benefits? And you ask, how are we actually going to produce results? Well, we're obligated under law to not just show a collection rate, and that was the old way of producing results. How much did you collect? But that didn't matter as much as how much of that was actually recycled. So under law, we are required to produce recycling rates for all of those material streams that I showed you earlier on those slides. So we will have to every year produce rates to ARMA, the regulator, and produce an evidence chain, an audited evidence chain for the province of how much is being recycled. So we're already advanced in your curbside collection. We plan to maintain and move forward with your depot. So I think it's a really quick thing. The last thing on this slide is promotion and education, which we call P&E. Circular Materials has a provincial campaign, regional campaigns, and individual campaigns, and for towns and cities and villages. And what that means is that we will make available, number one, an app to your residents to make sure that they can understand what day of the week they get services on. We will also send them printed schedules and postcards and information so they can understand what day of the week they get services on and what is actually recyclable. And we'll manage provincial campaigns to teach everybody about what goes into recycling versus what doesn't in terms of PPP. So there's a few components moving, but I'm going to pause there and open for questions.
Anyone have any questions so far? Councillor Psichny?
Yeah, through the deputy mayor to our presenter. And the question is on the, I'm curious more, and maybe you can answer it for me. Mixing all stuff together seems to be pretty easy to separate, but then my question is on how do you deal with the glass not contaminating or smashing and getting embedded in all the other stuff?
Yeah, it's actually that's a really good question. And it's a really common question because in Alberta, we were taught to sort glass and other products away from papers and fibers and things. There's a lot of different processes now. One, the first way that we're managing this is that we're not baling the materials altogether in the same way that they traditionally would have been baled, where they really break the materials apart. So we're going to compact the materials at most locations, but not bale them. And then when we remove them and we take them to, we call them preconditioning facilities. This one will be managed in Edmonton. This facility has numerous stops along the path to remove glass. So there's different ways glass falls off. It's handpicked, it's moved, it's sorted. It has different lines based on weight, and they actually sort glass into 2-inch sections, and they have about 3 different ways that it drops off the belts. They have to maintain those belts at a pretty high interval in order to not have them eaten up as well. But it's very, very manageable, and it's being done in Ontario, in Quebec, in lots of other places as well. So we anticipate actually pretty good collection rates. There's a lot of places in Alberta that currently do not collect glass at all. So we're adding that into the collection, as well as flexible plastics and styrofoam and aerosols, all sorts of things all together. We think it's pretty manageable.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor?
Yeah, through the deputy mayor to our presenter, thank you for the information so far. I know I'm excited about this program, so I don't have to have 17 bins in my garage to sort everything out, or my 17-year-old has to do that. But just question on the education campaign. Just 2 questions. One, is it the hope that you're going to be able to coordinate with our communications team so we can assist getting the messaging out there? And the second question is, when do you hope to start that messaging campaign, as the start date is October 1st?
Yeah, great questions. One, we already have a provincial campaign operating. So there are ways that we're hitting different groups based on social media and other platforms. Number 2, start of July, your residents will receive the first direct mail out. And that mail out will be a postcard, because your cart community will tell them, hey, you're getting a cart, stay tuned. And this is your service provider. And part of what we're telling them is that how Circular Materials runs our contracts is that we will ask the community to directly coordinate with the contractor. So if they have issues. So this is what I'll explain in terms of community engagement. We want to be able to move this away from your community because there's dollars and labor and staff to have to do these things, but we really appreciate the support. So what we've developed are toolkits. And we've already made them available to your town staff. And we have a whole series of them. And so one, we ask on your websites that you post all the information that we need posted in terms of, here's your service provider, here's Circular Materials, this is what's happening. We have a whole bunch of images and things like that. Then we're going to target your communities. You guys, Hinton is obviously along the same path. We're going to make sure that we communicate in a way that makes sense for your types of communities, campaigns. So we'll do those things. We love any any collaboration, because we know it's going to take a little while for people to not call the town when there's an issue. So whatever we can do to make that easier, we will. One thing that we're doing this summer, we're meeting with all of our service providers in the next 2 weeks to say, here's all the rules. We have pretty big, expansive contracts. And then we're arranging for all of your municipal staff and all of the new service or new communities getting these programs to meet directly with the service provider. So this summer we'll arrange those, and then they can ask all the questions. What's the address? What happens if my cart is missed? What happens on missed collections? What happens if it needs to be repaired? What happens if there's road closures? You name it. All of the things that could affect your service. What happens when we're snowed out, we can't access, how are those arrangements going to work? And then in September, your community members are going to get a second communication. Now, here is your day of the week of collection, and here's the app. And we want you to log onto this app, and we want you to look at what's available to you. And that way we can push out when there is an issue quicker. If people use the app, but we know that not everyone does. So we will try to also make that written with schedules and other things.
Thank you. GM Kitlitz, did you want to add on to that answer?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to confirm that our communication team has access to toolkits already that Circular Materials has provided, and they have scheduled timely posts on our social media and website to help get the message out. So I just wanted to confirm that is happening.
I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson-Lear.
Through the Deputy Mayor to our presenter and administration, thank you so much for this portion of your presentation. I received a late question in the day, and I thought this might be the appropriate time to ask this. And I think you've covered a lot of the education portion of how people are going to understand the process. But with the introduction of the curbside recycling beginning October 1st, will residents experience any changes to their existing garbage or green bin collection schedules? Or is the intent that those services remain unchanged with recycling being added as a new collection stream?
Yes. So it will be the second half. Because Circular Materials is not involved in organics or garbage collection, that still stays with your municipality. We do not weigh in on those scheduled days, but the one thing that we have tried to do wherever possible is use the same day, because we know we're going to get better results if a resident puts all of their products out at one. How much do we all love garbage collection day and having to do it more than one day? So we're working really hard to be able to do that. I didn't check on, I'm sorry about that, but about your actual collection days and what that looks like just before we're finalizing those details. But we will get that information very soon. Actually, by maybe even by the end of this week, your municipal staff is getting a letter that confirms a lot of the details that they will need to understand going forward. So separate collection, we do our collection, but we want to make it as easy as possible.
Thank you for that. Councillor Holden.
Through the Deputy Mayor to our presenter. The Edson District and Recycling Society has done a fabulous job. They've won awards through Alberta for their recycling efforts. So my question is, I just wanted to confirm that they will still exist and have their facility. And with Circular Materials coming on board, will they require some renovations to their facility if they're just going to do a single stream recycling program? If you could answer.
Sure. In terms of, I'm confident that they will still exist, but I can't weigh in on, we are absolutely contracting with them for recycling and collection. They are your depot, and we plan to continue that on inevitably. So no different plans. But as we collect single stream, one thing that they were doing for us is that they were processing. So that means they were preparing the materials direct for selling into market based on different sorts. But now with a provincial program and scale, this is the first time this has happened in the history of Alberta. We're actually moving all the products the same direction, and we're marketing them all together. We get better rates, we have more leverage, we're doing it nationally because we're a national organization. And Canada's a very small place in the market, and this allows us to gain a little bit of momentum in terms of pricing structure and consistency. So one of the things we do not need from them is we do not need them to prepare the materials individually and none of our communities across Alberta are selling directly to the market for us. So those parts are no longer needed, but they will have to maintain an operation or want to maintain an operation. And we will pay them for that to collect PPP materials all bundled together, and then we'll get them picked up and then we'll move them the same direction to Edmonton to get processed. So I don't know what sort of changes exactly that means for them in terms of their operations, but that is what the contract between us and them will contain.
Thank you. GM Kitlitz, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I guess what I could supplement with is also the depot will still have to manage commercial recycling materials because this does not include commercial products. So this will have work to do there. And then my understanding is they're also handling household special products under a different pro. Those are your chemicals and stuff from household chemicals. So they have that. They still have that role to play, and but so they still have a role in the community for sure.
Thank you for that. Councillor Pisichny.
Yeah, through the Deputy Mayor to the presenter. On your slides, you show mentioning our multifamily units or apartment buildings and such. Do they get bins, or do you only get bins where we currently have toters now? Or
No, pardon me. Yeah, they absolutely will. So in our phase 2, October 1, multifamily qualify. So we will provide multifamily dwellings. I just can't recall off the top of my head whether you were already servicing as a municipality multifamily dwellings. Can anyone confirm that with me?
GM Kitlitz.
No, we weren't. Well, sorry, they could use a depot, I believe. No, they would have commercial. Actually, you know what? I don't know. I better confirm that. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I think they had to contract. No, they had to contract themselves. That's what it was.
Okay, so
They had to find their own.
that's perfect then. So what that means is that all they have to do, or maybe they already have, is register with Circular Materials, and then we will provide them with what we call curbside collection for multifamily dwellings. Provide a bin or carts or bags, whatever is appropriate for their building, and they will also have collection like single family dwellings free of charge.
Mayor Zahara.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Forty. And just to add on to GM Kitlitz's information there about supporting commercial, they're also, the depot still, I believe, has a contract with Yellowwood County to deal with their materials as well, because they won't be qualified under this program because they don't provide waste collection services.
Councillor Schramm.
Yeah, through the chair, it's not really a question. It's more of a overall comment. This has been long overdue, and it's great to see this coming into our community. When I look at the list of the products that you're accepting, it's actually quite a bit more substantial than our current recycle depot is taking, and which is really exciting. And I think our residents are going to be very pleased with this move forward. It's just great to see this happening at this time, and it was long overdue. So thanks.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Councillor Taylor.
Through the Deputy Mayor, probably to administration on this question, just to bring up multifamily dwellings. I had this question just a few days ago for people living in mobile home parks, because currently we don't provide collection there. Is that something Circular Materials will be able to provide? Because I know, again, people in the mobile home parks were interested in the program.
Yes, it is actually. And so all we do is require if the municipality or the town was not servicing them prior to this deadline of October 1. We ask that they register with us and we will arrange for service. So it will either look like single family door-to-door collection, depending on the style of the community, or it might be a bin. And then they drop off bags full, clear bags full of their recycling, and we'll pick it up. And we want the material back. And I think this is the fundamental difference for us Albertans. Recycling has always felt good and it's the right thing and you hoped, but now we actually need to get the product back to hit something called material management requirements. And we represent producers. So we're turning that material into other products that they will then use and are mandated to use under different laws. So there is actually a really robust circular economy forming in Canada.
Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm good. We're excited to do this and we hope we do a great job. And I expect fully to hear. We'll be engaging with your municipal staff weekly at the start and then monthly to make sure that we're doing a good job.
Thank you so much. This is an excellent program, and it's going to make it so simple for our residents to take part and to recycle all these materials. So it's just going to be an excellent program. Thank you so much for your presentation. Really appreciate your time tonight. Was there anything else you needed to add in your presentation, or?
No, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, folks.
Thank-
And you have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you so much. It's exciting. Appreciate your time tonight.
Bye.